Hey guys, so sorry about that. Photos ended up crashing. So yeah, that was a problem there. But anyway, let's quickly just resume where we left off. So as I was saying, just the peak stress there. So now let's get into some other things really quick, and then I'm gonna see if I can get to the app here or the game that's loading. It has the ship to sit in like that. So let's just get into there. Okay, so you have the stern section here. This is just before it breaks. Or I think this is, nope, this is just before it breaks apart because number 4 funnel's still on. You see that door? That's a wide open door. That was left open by accident because they were going to try to see if they can get some people lowered into a lifeboat from that door, but the guy that opened it was never seen again. So as the stern was going down, it actually ended up gaining more water and just allowing more water to flood in. So that's just a little story behind that little door there. Okay, so now here's a good diagram of the bow. So by this time, when the bow is already just here, you have third-class cabins flooded completely. The bunkers were the boilers and bunkers were flooded. Your second-class cabins were slowly starting to flood. The grand staircase was okay, but some people were still trapped in this particular area, so it just shows how quickly this thing was sinking. It's very interesting, and some people even had their own different, like thoughts or theories on how the ship ended up sinking. But before that, let's go to the debris field map here. Okay, so when I was talking about how the ship sank, this is your bow section from up top. Now, there's your cargo hatch. That's 80 meters forward of the bow, and hatch bolts are all severed. So what did that? When the bow ended up smashing into the seafloor, if you look at some images, you'll see a big gash along the side of it. That's because the bow is still full of water, but there's still some oxygen in some areas. So when it hit the seafloor and just breaks, there's so much combustion and compression that it just breaks all windows and doors, bolts all at the same time, and a lot of water just broke through that iceberg damage and just made a big gash. So pretty much that was all just compression and combustion inside the ship where there was still some oxygen. So when it hit, boom, everything just broke off. So that's why that hatch there is broken apart. So now we have other sections of the ship. So there's your deck house. This is the double bottom hull, so that was what was keeping the ship together when it split apart for a few seconds, or a few minutes. Well, no, probably a few seconds. Boiler casings, and then you got your engines. Okay, so now here's your 5 boilers, all here. Let's see, what else you got? So there's your stern. So then you got cranes, broken pieces of funnel, servant plates, teacup shoes, just all kinds of stuff just sitting here. So it's very interesting, and that's just Titanic's debris field map. So now let's go to a couple diagrams of the ship sinking. So this was drawn by a guy, an eyewitness, who said that this is how he saw the ship sink. So when it hits the iceberg and it starts going down like this, lifeboats are going out, and then around here, ship ends up splitting apart where funnels 2 and 3 are, right in between those, breaks apart. It did not break like this. That would not actually end up happening. If the ship was to break like this, something would have had to have cut up the side of the bottom hull like this. Like it would have to go up like that for the ship to break apart like this. It wouldn't have broken apart like that. Because then, well, the bow wouldn't actually have ended up the way it did, the bow would have actually also imploded if it went down like this. So, but this was drawn in 1912, so a couple of eyewitness accounts. Stern goes down just how they usually say it did. Vertical goes down like this. Another diagram here shows another way of how the ship would have sank. So it starts filling up, funnels breaking off, you get your peak stress here, and it breaks like this. If the ship broke like that, I'm going to slightly assume that the stern would have actually maybe have fallen on top of the bow, or something else would have happened, but the ship would not have broken like that. There's just no way that it would have broken like this. There would be way much more damage than that if it broke like this. So that's definitely not how the ship broke. Definitely not. And then here we have another diagram. This one here is actually more accurate. It's right here. This is more accurate-ish to how it sank. All like that. So then it breaks between there, separates like this. That's more of a better diagram of how the ship sank. But now let's quickly jump into the simulator, and I'm going to try and simulate how the ship went down. Okay, so here we are, and this is floating sandbox. You can get this for free, by the way. So we have 2012 PNG model of Titanic, sitting like that, and I made the sea just deep enough. It was just deep enough to do this. Okay, so now let's go ahead and slice right where the iceberg impact would have been. So the iceberg impact would have hit here and left a gash like that. So now you guys are going to see how it floods. So compartments 1, 2 are flooded like that. Compartment 3 starting to go. So now the superstructure starts to get pulled under. Compartment 4 is already flooded, but now you see, since there was the fire there, water starting to leak into compartment 5, just like that. So now it's flooding in pretty rapidly. So now, as you can see, it's starting to bend a little bit, because now the bow is starting to get really heavy, and it's just being pulled down. So more water. It's just starting to flood in, as we can see. Okay, so now compartment 6 is just starting to flood here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, compartment 7. Sorry. So now it's right around here where the funnels, they start to collapse. Well, yeah, they start to collapse at the base. So we're going to snap those off. So now funnels break off like that. This starts to break. Alright, now I'm going to do the slice. So we have our maximum peak stress, which is right around here. So now you see, ship splits apart. That's your double keel right there. That funnel falls off. So now you see the bow and the stern are just holding on. They're being held up just by that little piece of double bottom, and then splits apart. So now the stern is left sitting like that. So now the bow, it goes down. The mast should actually end up falling back. It should be doing that, but it's not. So I'll just, because that's what would have happened to the wheelhouse when the mast fell back, because the speed. So now the bow by this time would have actually been speeding up to 50 knots. So it goes down like this, and it will, in this particular scenario, the bow's not really gonna, you know, end up in the way that I hope it is, unless I use the power of God to make the land a bit more bigger, well, less deep. Okay, so here comes the bow. It's falling at a stable position, just like this, and let's just check the stern section really quick. Okay, so now the bow, and it hits right here, and yeah, boom, it breaks. So now you got that gash, and it kind of breaks its back, and then we see the hydraulic downburst on the downblast effect. So then it was that. Okay, now let's see the stern. So it starts going up. That funnel is now going to break off as it goes down. Sadly, in this game, the stern won't implode like how it did when it actually sank, but we're going to get there. Well, I'm just going to see if I can do that. So now the funnel falls, stern goes vertical, just like this. Because it's still buoyant in that rear area, but now water starts to flood in where that door was open, as you guys saw in that painting. You know, the mast starts to go. Funnel pieces are now falling down. And then now we see Titanic is starting to go down. That part there breaks off. So now this is around where the part where the stern just implodes. It blows up because of all the damage of all that water compression inside. So now the stern implodes, it breaks. Okay, so you guys already see how the bow is, so now I'm just going to get rid of the bow. And then you guys can see how the stern would have landed. Okay, so we got the stern. In this game, it doesn't spiral. It didn't actually end up going down like this either, but it's the best I can do. So we see it go down, and it just, bam. It actually didn't end up landing like this. It landed horizontally. It didn't land vertically, but this game can't really do that, so that's the best we got. I don't know if I can kind of make it. Oh, good. Okay, so it is gonna hopefully land how I want it to land. So I'm just gonna break that. Such a slow process of just how it goes down. Okay, so here we go. So it starts to, so let's just say that this is how it's going to fall. So actually I just might make it do this here. So I'm just going to pick it back up. Okay, so now this is how it should fall. So it falls almost like this, sort of, not 100%, but it kind of falls like this, and just bam. Compresses. Now that rushing water comes down on it, breaking it apart, making it look like it was an airplane crash site, and bam. So now that's it. So bada bing, bada boom. that's kind of how the ship will sink in this game. You can also pick this game up for free. Just go to like GameJolt.com. And you can pick up Floating Simulator from there, or Floating Sandbox, sorry. Okay. Well, I guess that's really all I have to do for the video at the moment. Just going to close that. So yeah, that kind of just concludes the history lesson on Titanic. I'm so sorry that the video ended up cutting out when photos crashed on the previous video, but yeah. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the lesson. If you did, make sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Hopefully you guys did learn something today. And you guys can go ahead and comment on other things that you'd like me to do. Like if you have any other requests on certain videos, or maybe even another kind of ship or an airplane or something like that, pick something if you'd like, and I can try to get back to you. But hopefully you guys have a great Mother's Day, and I will talk to you guys very soon. See you later.